avoid anxiety when you do have to be around people again.
My colleagues and I are all very concerned about whether our kids will be safe.
Unliked by many, the fight Ohio's Attorney General and many others are taking on to stop Instagram from launching a kid version. A local child counselor weighs in on the impact social media can have on young kids.
The small businesses, people working together to keep themselves up and lift themselves up has been really amazing to see.
Cavs player Kevin Love gives his take on Cleveland's comeback, plus what he's doing to help those who've struggled mentally during the pandemic.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Hope you have been enjoying the sunshine that we had today, even though it was a little bit chilly outside. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Crawford.
Hi, Betsy. Very good Tuesday afternoon to you and to everyone joining us at home. Thanks so much for watching What's New. We begin today at 5 with news about children and the COVID vaccine. It appears as if kids in Ohio could be getting vaccinated as early as tomorrow. Governor Mike DeWine announced Ohio will immediately expand vaccine eligibility to kids ages 12 to 15 as soon as the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices and the CDC recommends it.
Oh, this comes on the heels of the FDA expanding Pfizer and Biontech's vaccine to younger kids. Our senior health correspondent Monica Robbins joins us now. And Monica, how much could this help the U.S. reach that very important milestone of herd immunity?
Well, Bets, it's certainly going to help, but that's only if parents are willing to get their kids vaccinated. And right now, experts tell me about a third of parents are gung-ho. They want to get it done. A third are on the fence. They're not real sure. And another third are against it. And another important thing to remember is that at least 20% of new COVID cases are in kids. And yes, while kids do seem to do better with the virus, they can still spread it to the unvaccinated. And the first step for any parent, though, in this situation is a visit or a call to their pediatrician to get their questions answered.
This age population constitutes about 17 million Americans, which is, if we are able to get through this this population, we'll be 87%. And Dr. Fauci has repeatedly said that we are, between 50 to 70% is where we need to be for herd immunity. I mean, it's a game changer. It truly is.
Dr. Garver says her phone has been ringing off the hook with parents asking questions, and she keeps reminding them that these vaccines have been rigorously tested, and her son turns 12 next week, and she'll be getting him vaccinated as soon as possible. Jay?
Monica, after the 12 to 15 age group, all that's left is for kids 2 to 11. When might that happen?
Well, actually, Jay, there's two more phases because eventually they're going to want to see if babies as young as 6 months old can get the vaccine too, just like they do with the flu shot. But the 2 to 11 age group is now being studied currently, and Pfizer says they'll seek a EUA from the FDA in probably September, so that could possibly mean that by October or November, 2 to 11-year-olds could get the vaccine as well. And I want to remind everyone, if you have vaccine questions, you got to join us on Thursday. We're having a virtual town hall on WKYC.com at 7:30 p.m. I rounded up a field of 6 experts to answer questions, everything from what do you do about your kids, pregnancy, anything you've heard. We want you to submit your questions now because I know a lot of you have those questions and we want to get them answered and get the right information out there.
All right, Monica, thank you so much. And again, everybody, this is only the Pfizer vaccine that's been approved for those 12 to 16-year-olds. Whether she likes it or not, little Josie is about to roll her sleeve up. So we are on that train ourselves. So, Monica, thanks for that great information.
Okay, now, as vaccinations have slowed dramatically here in the state of Ohio, we have good news for adults that are wanting to get the shot. If you want that Johnson & Johnson one-and-done vaccine, you now can get that at the Wolstein Center. Unlike Pfizer and Moderna, this one only requires one shot. So you go, you get it, and you are fully vaxxed. Workers were supposed to start administering it late last month, but remember, they held off after a few reports of blood clots nationwide. Since then, the FDA and CDC have given states the green light to resume using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It is available at the Wolstein Center. now through the next 6 days.
Well, now on your feed at 5, this has been a very hot topic recently. U.S. employers reported a record number of jobs available in March, which illustrates the desperate need for employees. And we just so happen to have a lot of folks who are unemployed. Well, the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services is going to be bringing back an old rule that could help employers. Anyone who wants unemployment money, they're going to need to prove they've looked for work. Our January Keaton is here with what this means for unemployed Ohioans and why one Case Western Reserve professor says everyone may not be getting on board with this. Hi, January.
Hey there, Betsy. Yeah, that's right. Folks out there collecting unemployment benefits, you will soon have to show weekly the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services that you are out there actively searching for work. That's every week you'll have to prove that. The weekly work search mandate was suspended in March of 2020, back when the pandemic hit and millions lost jobs and businesses. Well, now here we are 14, 15 months later. Folks who are receiving unemployment benefits will have to show proof that they're out there filling out job applications, sending resumes, enrolling at temp agencies. Now, I asked Case Western Professor Michael Goldberg if this will help get folks back into the workforce. He said the pandemic has changed what many people think about going back to work, so not everyone will be on board.
I believe you're going to see a subset of the workforce who want greater flexibility. They are caring for children, for seniors, and some of it is going to have to be employers paying more wages, increasing flexibility to really attract the kind of workers that they want.
Now, the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services said if you will be one of the people who are affected by the work search mandate, they will contact you personally. They'll send you something in the mail, so you'll find out that way. Also, by the way, that work search mandate goes into effect officially on May 23rd.
Oh, January, this is such good information for people because, you know, there's a lot of people who look at this like unemployment has become a job for some people. And while that may or may not be the case, businesses are going to have to turn it around and become, like your professor said, more flexible to attract those employees. Great info.
Yeah.
Thanks, January. Jay?
Well, this morning, Cavs player Kevin Love appeared on the Today Show as part of the Reopening America series. All week long, the Today Show will be highlighting how Cleveland is making a comeback from the pandemic. Love started by talking about Cavs fans, saying it's great to have fans back in the arena. According to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse's website, 4,100 fans are now allowed inside for each game. Love said it's beginning to feel like real basketball again. And when it comes to watching Cleveland reopen, he said it's been amazing.
We just had the NFL draft here, a couple weeks ago. That was amazing to see all the football fans, everybody downtown, it feeling lively, just out and about. I think that was so great to see, and just how resilient the city of Cleveland and the greater Cleveland area in Ohio has been. I mean, you have to tip your hat to the first responders. I think the Cleveland Clinic has done so great for the people around here and treating them through COVID, but just the small businesses, people working together to keep themselves up and lift themselves up has been really amazing to see. And I know that's across the country everywhere, but being here in Cleveland throughout the season and seeing that has been something that's really special.
Kevin also made a special announcement that COA, which he described as the world's first mental health gym, is partnering with him to give away free emotional fitness classes this month. We have details on how you can apply on our website, WKYC.com. Yeah, it has been amazing to see, Bets, and I know we've talked about that on the program, but particularly the last couple of weeks, and even today, when I was coming downtown, the parking spots are now hard to find. And that hasn't been the case for over a year.
Right.
So you're starting to see more activity in Cleveland. A lot of my friends that work and live downtown are back to work. Many of these companies are opening up now, and they say that this is really the first time they've been back at it in a year since the pandemic really had us in its grips back in March of 2020.
And things are only going to pick up from here. You know, summertime, that's a great time to be out in downtown Cleveland, enjoying patios and heck, just hanging out at Public Square. It's such a beautiful spot. So I think things are going to get busier and busier.
Yeah, good to see. The pulse of the city is beginning to pick it up. That's good. Okay, next up on the Cleveland tour, the Today Show will highlight what's happening at NASA Glenn Research Center. I know, Betsy, that's near and dear to you. That's going to be fascinating to watch, too. You can tune in tomorrow. It begins at 6 a.m. right here on Channel 3.
Well, speaking of tech, it is Tech Tuesday here on What's New, and social media giant Facebook is facing mounting pressure to abandon their plans to develop an Instagram type of account specifically for kids 13 and under. As our Romney Smith reports, officials from almost every state are saying no.
Instagram can be fun, informative, and of course a time drain while mindlessly scrolling. Facebook, which owns Instagram, is focused on creating a space for kids ages 13 and under that has Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost and 43 other state attorneys general saying absolutely not.
They're basically making an online playground, an electronic playground here that anybody that is interested in preying on children will know that they're all together in one place here.
Kristen Gambasini is a mother of 8 children in Medina and says she's absolutely concerned about online safety for her kids.
To keep your child on the right track and to know what they're doing and to make sure that you know who they're around and all of those things. And then you throw the internet in there and it's all of a sudden, no matter how hard you try, there's no real way to always know what's going on online.
While Facebook released a statement Monday saying, quote, "We agree that any experience we develop must prioritize their safety and privacy," Counselor Amber Thomas says young kids may not be mature enough to handle it.
Because of their growing brains and their brains still developing, really don't have the ability to do some of the thinking that needs to happen to be able to make good choices with social media.
Gambasini says the easiest thing for her family is to have limits and keep an open line of communication with her kids.
I think the scariest part is the unknown, but it's also a lot of trust. We have to lay out the rules and lay out the guidelines and go over the safety aspects of it.
Now, keep in mind, this is not the first social media platform aimed at youth. YouTube, which Google owns, has a kids platform. And by the way, Betsy, it does have parental controls.
Oh my gosh, this is getting a lot of people talking for sure, Romney. Parents everywhere fight this battle on a daily basis to give access or not give access. And we just don't need more access in that fight. So thank you so much for that report.
We'll see.
Jay, I think I'm just going to kind of sit back and let you take the floor because you about came out of your seat.
Bets, it drives me nuts. It really drives me crazy that we would even think that the idea of putting kids in one platform with pictures could ever be a good idea. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you some numbers here, and they're alarming. As adults, we get suckered into that doom scrolling. I'm sure it's happened to all of us through social media sites. According to Vox, Americans, on average, spend an astounding 82 minutes a day on social media. That's an hour and 22 minutes wasted every day when you get right down to it. What are you producing during that time? It's actually up 7 minutes a day from the year before. So if you're looking to balance social media use and good mental health, an expert recommends these 3 things. Listen to these. These are very good ideas. Be selective with who you follow. Follow accounts that make you feel good, let the rest go. Also, set time limits on your phone that alert you when you've reached your limit for the day. You'll find that it becomes easier and easier to use less as you reach that limit, and you can decrease that limit as time goes on until you're down to whatever you feel comfortable with, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And schedule your time on social media just like you would schedule anything else. It's oftentimes a mindless waste of time. I know there's good things out there, but my goodness, Bets, 82 minutes a day, thumbing through a phone to see how other people are living their lives, if that's the way you want to do it.
Well, so many jobs these days, it all goes like this now. So
all
our
intertwined.
job, you know, we all have social media accounts.
Sure.
We keep them up. We love to hear from people. We really do. It's a way that we can actually interact with people. But boy, it does take a lot of time. And when you sit back at the end of your workday and then you pick your phone up and you begin social media, now you've just extended your workday. So it's kind of hard to separate the two. Well, coming up next, our Monica Robbins spoke to musician Sheryl Crow today. The message the breast cancer survivor has for women on making your health a priority.
Plus, making a statement. The latest Hollywood star to return their Golden Globes after controversy with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. We have the details. That's coming up in your pop break. And Matt, it was pretty outside today. Pretty and chilly.
Yeah, Jay, yeah, pretty chilly is right. It's nice to see the sunshine on our CSU cam shining down, but you're right. We've got a chill in the atmosphere, still well below average, but we are going to warm over the next 7 days. Well, you see the numbers. We'll bring them to you on the other side of the break.
Yay.
Well, this is National Women's Health Week, and today, Grammy Award-winning recording artist Sheryl Crow wanted to remind women to take better care of themselves. Crow told our senior health correspondent Monica Robbins that too many women put off critical health screenings like mammograms during the pandemic. And the breast cancer survivor wants women to know her life was saved by routine screening.
Stay diligent about taking care of your own health. Make sure at the age of 40, start getting your yearly mammogram. Obviously, we've been through a pandemic, and now it's time for us to get back to the normalcy of taking care of our health.
Well, Crow has been in remission from breast cancer since 2006, but she is a strong advocate for better technology, including 3D mammograms, which she encourages women to seek out. Now, you can hear Monica's entire interview with Sheryl Crow on her podcast, Health Yeah, with Monica Robbins. Download and subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts. Wasn't that sun beautiful today?
Oh, it was gorgeous.
I know. And, it was kind of deceiving because if you're sitting inside and the room is so lit, you're like, wow, it's so beautiful. Then you go outside and you're like, and chilly.
Yeah, very chilly. Matt, your weather word today is hopeful, and I'm going to tell you why. Today's May 11th. We know that's the latest we've ever had snow here in Northeast Ohio. It happened last year. Now, this year we got it on May 9th. I am hopeful we're done with that word until later this fall.
Yeah, I am too, Jay. I'll tell you, last year we had it May 9th and May 11th. So this year we'll stick with just the May 9th, and hopefully we'll warm up from here, as you mentioned. But you know what? All indication is the next 10 days we're well above where we should be to get some snow around here. So that's the good news. And then beyond that, boy, the sun's just going to take over, right? And climatologically speaking, it is going to be close to impossible. Although we have had snowflakes late May, it just hasn't accumulated. So we'll keep that out of the forecast for now. As you mentioned, it is certainly chilly outside by mid-May standards. We're generally near 50, still some 40s out there, a couple mid-50s. Overall, it's the breeze that's making it feel more like the mid-40s outside. But look at much of the eastern half of the country. All the warm air is down to the south, and this really isn't warm for them. We've had airflow out of Canada over the last week and a half. That has done a couple good things, though. It's kept the Gulf of Mexico out of play, so we've had very little in terms of severe weather across much of the country. It's been a fairly quiet couple months, but it's also keeping us cool. We've got the core of that cool air just to the north of us right now. We showed this yesterday, how we had the circulating air off towards our north, kicking off some showers. A couple showers trying to make it across the lake. There is such dry air in place, so that they're evaporating before they even make it to the Cleveland shore. We'll keep an eye on them over the next couple hours, but all of this is diurnally driven, so you get that daytime heating, they bubble up, and then they go away. But you see the cool air still in place. That's going to stick around tonight. We've got more frost expected inland, pretty widespread, even some more freeze warnings up in Michigan. And overall, again, those plants that you keep bringing out or you cover up, you want to bring them in, cover them up again tonight. We've got a couple more nights of this, mainly inland. Can't rule out patchy frost outside of that frost advisory, but a pretty good widespread frost tonight across much of the inland locations. So cold nights this week. Tonight, frost likely. Tomorrow night, I think we do it again. These are the lows near the lake shores. You get further inland, it'll be even lower. And then Thursday, I'm hopeful that we will have just some frost scattered around the area. Yes! And you can see as we get in your National Design Word Hour by our forecast, those clear skies tonight, that's what's going to do it. Winds will be becoming a little bit lighter. Will be in the 30s tomorrow morning, 40s near that lake shore. Wall-to-wall sunshine tomorrow, folks. We're going to start to uptick this temperature. I think mid to upper 50s tomorrow for most of us. Should be a pretty pleasant afternoon, all things considered. Then another cold night Wednesday night. So pretty quiet weather from here. But the warm-up continues. Here we go on into the weekend. We're talking 70s by Saturday and Sunday in terms of precip chances. Your Union Home Mortgage forecast here. I've got the 10-day. I'm only going 7 on here, but you can see the 70s as we get into the weekend. Next chance of rain. We stay dry until Monday, Tuesday next week. So overall, we're going to start to warm things up and we'll dry things out across Northeast Ohio. We'll be back with Pop Break on the other side of our break.
All right, it's time for your daily pop break of entertainment news. You know, Tom Cruise is going to be giving back his Golden Globe Awards. There's a new trailer out for a Kevin Hart film, and J-Lo is reuniting with a lost friend. Here's Kiera Cotton with all the details.
Tom Cruise is sending a message to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Yesterday, it was reported that the three-time Golden Globe winner sent all of his awards back to the headquarters. Cruise is just the latest star to make a statement as a result of the association's slow efforts to address its lack of diversity. Cruise joins Netflix, Amazon, and NBC, who has decided not to air the awards next year.
If you could have only one parent, I wish you could have had your mom.
The trailer for Kevin Hart's latest film has officially been released, and the comedian turned actor is tackling fatherhood. And while he's no stranger to the journey in real life, having 4 children of his own, in the movie he's a single father, working to figure out how to raise his daughter after the unexpected death of his wife. Played by Melody Hurd, the two experience life, depending on one another to make it through. The movie also stars Alfre Woodard, DeWanda Wise, and Little Rel Howery.
2 kisses. One for mommy, one for me.
Fatherhood is set to premiere on Netflix June 18th. And it appears that time has stopped and we're back in the year 2003 because Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are reportedly back together. On second thought, maybe this is 2021 because very few things make sense. Nevertheless, the two were spotted spending time together this week in Montana. And according to People magazine, a source says that the reunion has been, quote, quick and intense, but Jennifer is happy, end quote. You may remember the two were engaged in 2002, postponed their wedding in 2003, and officially split the following year. You know the saying, if you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, then that's how you know. Well, we'll just have to see if that rings true. Back to you guys.
All right, Kiera, thank you very much. Today's Worth the Watch tugs right at the heartstrings, especially for moms. Emily, her husband, and their 5-month-old son all visited Boston's Franklin Park Zoo recently. Emily quickly connected with Kiki the gorilla, who turns out is a mother as well. So Emily, her son, Kiki, and Kiki's baby all sat their bets for about 5 minutes trying to hold hands through the glass. Emily's husband caught the whole thing on camera, and that is worth the watch. That's amazing.
It is so cool. I remember at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo in there, you know, in the rainforest area, they have the orangutans in there. And they can see you and they can interact with you. And there was one who had a little baby when Josie was a tiny human. And Josie would go put her hands up against the thing, and the orangutans would come down and they'd check her out. So
pretty cool.
They're very curious.
Yeah.
Certainly.
That's neat. Very neat.
Well, still ahead for us here in our next half hour of What's New, re-entry anxieties. As places begin to reopen, how will you feel in and around crowds? Stephanie Haney talks to a local psychologist about the possible pressures and how to face them head on in a healthy way.
Then a wild story about a tiger, its alleged owner, and a police chase. We have new details about the man seen with the big cat and reaction from a sheriff who helped find him. You've got to see this.
Since we've Hey, let me head over there. We are talking about re-entry anxiety today and the ways to cope with it. All right, popping in here right now. Good, great, thanks.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And we begin at 5:30 with three things you need to know this half hour. First up, jury selection began today in the trial of Tevin Biles Thomas. He's the brother of Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles. He's charged with multiple counts of murder in a shooting that happened at a New Year's Eve party that was back in 2018 in Cleveland. Biles Thomas pleaded not guilty to the charges. He faces life in prison if convicted of the most serious charge.
There's new information into the death of a Bowling Green State University student. The family of Stone Foltz filed a wrongful death lawsuit today in Franklin County against the Delta Beta chapter of Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity, along with 20 people, including Dalen Dunson from Cleveland. Dalen, along with 7 others who've been named, were all charged for various crimes in Foltz's alleged hazing death back in March. 10 others in the lawsuit are John Doe's. The lawsuit says Foltz was forced to drink the equivalent of 40 liquor shots in less than 20 minutes.
And here's our daily COVID numbers, and we see our typical Tuesday spike as they jumped up to 1,411 new cases statewide. Remember, these are numbers from yesterday's test, and Mondays are always a big number as people tend to put off getting tested on the weekend until Monday. Our 14-day average is all the way down now to 1,248 new daily cases, meaning our estimated cases per 100,000 is also way down. It's at around 120 now. As for our vaccinations, just 18,000 first shots were given yesterday. That's way down from our highs of over 100,000 shots daily. Ohio has now started the vaccination process in 4.88 million residents. That is 41.75% of our state's total population. And with that, we welcome you back to What's New. Along with Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. I'm very excited because my friend Betsy has given me a bottle of something that she calls tahine.
Yum.
Now, she swears it makes fresh fruit even better. Betsy, thank you so much for this. You told me about it last week, and I've been trying to find it, and everybody on Twitter says that this just makes fruit unbelievable, and they say the rims of Bloody Marys or margaritas as well.
I'm learning from your feed, too.
Wow.
So tahine, I found it, actually, I was first, exposed to it at a flea market in Florida. People were dumping it on fresh fruit. And I was like, I gotta try this. And it was great on watermelon. It's awesome on avocado toast, which I know Tracy likes. So
she's gonna try it on that. Yeah.
I found it at Aldi.
There you go. Someone literally said, Betsy's right, this is life altering.
It's good. You'll find all kinds of uses.
There you go. Give it a try.
Don't like it, though. All right, well, I'll tell you what, as everybody's kind of getting back to normal, friends interacting once again, maybe thinking about getting back to work and attending social gatherings, it's been a big talker for a lot of families. Well, check out these stats. 42% of U.S. workers have been working from home full-time during the pandemic. It's almost half. 29% of employees say they're going to quit their jobs if they can't continue working remotely.
Wow. And that's where our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, comes in. Stephanie, good Tuesday afternoon to you. Great to see you again. You recently chatted, had an interview with an expert about this on your podcast. He said some of this has to do with anxiety of being around people again.
It does, Jay and Betsy. It's all collectively referred to as re-entry anxiety, and returning to an office is one major type of it. It's actually a lot like post-isolation stress that people feel after getting out of prison or returning from a military deployment. On my podcast this week, Cleveland Clinic psychologist Dr. Scott B. explains why this is such a thing right now.
Humans are creatures of habit, and they say it takes about 66 days of consecutive performance to create new habits. Once those habits are formed, they actually spin in a very deep part of our brain called the basal ganglia. And these habits help us get on in the world with a little bit less tension. While most of us did not want to become isolated, somehow we've kind of gotten used to it. Now, when they're asked to do something completely different, even if it has been a want to in the past, it's going to tax that part of our brain that's out of the habit.
We are certainly out of the habit when it comes to being in large crowds or close to people, even in small groups. Dr. B says for people with this very specific type of re-entry anxiety, establishing strong boundaries and communicating them very clearly is going to be key.
Once you get into those spots, there can be some social pressure and people might violate their own kind of ideas or rules. So if we can talk up front, where I'd be comfortable, how I might be comfortable, if that's not for me, you have to say that with a bit of assertion and stick to it as best you can.
It's not just about our comfort here either. Good communication will be key to making sure that we don't rub people the wrong way, Jay and Betsy, because we've all been living in our bubbles and kind of gotten used to doing things our own way.
Well, speaking of, when you get to interacting with your coworkers, conflict resolution via Zoom versus conflict resolution in person, two very different scenarios. Did he have any tips on that?
He did. I bet you we were all just a little bit rusty there. Dr. B says it's important we go slow, not be too aggressive, not too assertive with people in person, but also be easy on ourselves and be easy on the people in our lives, because it's going to take us time to get back into a groove. And we talk about that and lots of other tips on re-entry anxiety, including for people who might be sensitive about the way they're looking when they meet up with other people. That's in the full podcast, and that's linked at wkyc.com/3 things to know, Jay and Betsy.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Great information. All right, Betsy, this next story is bizarre.
Yes, it is.
The alleged owner of a tiger making a Mother's Day prowl was arrested last night, but the tiger is still roaming free. We have video of the tiger. He's just roaming around a Houston neighborhood. The first neighbor to see it reported it on his neighborhood blog, and then an off-duty sheriff's deputy who lives close by showed up to help. Look at this thing.
The tiger kind of backed me into the yard across the street, at which time an individual came out of the house and told me, don't kill it, don't kill it, don't kill it. And I didn't know who, but I was trying to protect him from the tiger. I told him to get back in his house, get back in your house. And he then proceeded to tell me that it was his tiger. So it kind of took me aback a second. And I told him, well, go get your tiger.
Go get your tiger. Now, the suspected owner is a guy by the name of Hugo Cuevas. When police arrived, he hopped in his SUV with the tiger, and Betsy, they sped off together. They finally found him last night, but the tiger's nowhere to be found. Cuevas was previously charged with murder in 2017. He bonded out. His lawyers are now saying he doesn't own the tiger. This is a bizarre story.
I want the 911 tapes.
I do too, because
of the
you know they're
neighborhood
good.
calling. There's a tiger in my yard.
Excuse me, what?
No, for real, like a real tiger is in my yard.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. It reminds me the movie The Hangover with Mike Tyson, and they sneak Mike Tyson's tiger into the Las Vegas hotel room. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's not PG-13.
It's not. It's just surreal that there would be this actual tiger roaming around in your neighborhood. Imagine you peek out your front window, Bets, and you see a live tiger just strolling through your yard.
Well, there actually was a man who lived in Copley a number of years ago when I was growing up who had quite a few exotic animals, and occasionally they would get out. It was very bizarre, but yeah, I totally feel for those people in that neighborhood.
I do too.
Still ahead for us here on What's New. Did you know the IRS may have a big chunk of your money from 4 years ago?
Oh.
We're going to tell you why and how much time you have to claim it.
I'm interested. You had me at money. Then, one thing everyone can agree on, robocalls are annoying. A 3 News investigation into what can be done to make them stop already. That's coming up.
Yeah, Al, you got me okay?
Hey, yep. Yeah. Let's see. Is that better? Okay, great. Yep.
All right, Matt, we continue to do the frost shuffle. Take the covers out, cover up the plants, bring them in the morning. Take them out and cover them up, bring them in the morning. We get to do it again tonight.
Yeah, and Betsy, I'm going to let my wife do that. I thought the tahini you were talking about was tahini, so I put an avocado in there, and that just doesn't taste right at all.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I asked my wife, but the tahini does not taste good with fruit. Just want to let you know that for sure. And we just wasted an avocado. Anyway, the frost continues across Northeast Ohio, Betsy. And one of the nice things about the sunshine that we've had is that we actually came out of a pretty cloudy period recently. This is the last 2 weeks worth of sunshine. The gray days are the ones where you have more clouds than sun. And look at this stretch that we had. It was about a week of cloud cover. We're finally breaking out of that. And you're going to see about a week at least of some sun-filled days around here. So certainly things are looking brighter. And that's all courtesy of high pressure. We still have some unsettled weather off towards our north. There's still very cold air aloft, a little bit of lift. Look at these showers that have developed areas of southern Ontario near London. These are trying to make it across the lake, but we've got very dry air in place, so most of them are kind of falling apart as they hit inland. Would not be surprised if areas of Ashtabula County, Conneaut, Ashtabula over towards Geneva, saw some sprinkles this evening. Otherwise, those will fade after sunset. And we're going to enjoy high pressure. This is all heading outbound. That's the good news. So we're going to have plain clear skies here over the next couple days. But the cooler air remains in place. And as Betsy alluded to, we continue this frost shuffle around here all across the Great Lakes. We've got frost advisories, even some freeze warnings. For us, it's mainly inland locations again. You get the drift. If you've watched the last, 5 or 6 nights now, we've been doing the same thing. Again, it's 2 a.m. till about 8 a.m. Just cover up the plants or bring them in, the ones that you want to keep for sure. Temperatures in the 50s now. We're going to fall pretty quickly tonight. We've got not just the clear skies, but the winds will start to ease. The wind helps to mix the air, and when it eases, you have settling, and that's when you get the cold conditions. But you look at the cold or the cool air, it's all the way down towards the Gulf Coast. This is cool for them down in areas of the southeast. In terms of above or below average over the next couple of days, look how the blues settle south. Normally, if we're going to get a quick warm-up, we have warm air to tap into. There's no warm air to tap into, so this air mass is gradually going to kind of cook underneath that May sun over the next 5 days, so that's why we don't have a huge increase. But eventually, we'll climb the stepping stones back towards the 70s this weekend. And that'll feel pretty nice around here. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. We're going to take it day by day, take the big look. This is a big old high pressure settling in, lots of sinking air. Look at the clear skies from here back towards Chicago. Next chance of rain, there's a slight one with some moisture on Friday off towards east. We'll keep an eye on that. I think that's overdone. Weekend looks great, and then on into next week, that's when we turn unsettled with some shower and thunderstorm chances. But in terms of rain, we could use the rain, but not now because we just got a lot. So let's let that sink in, and we'll get some next week. Union Home Mortgage 7-day. I corrected this. Everything looks good here. We've got sunshine, next chance of rain Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures up into the 70s. How about that? What a nice recovery we've got. And Jay, this is really a forecast I'm proud to give. Last couple weeks, I've kind of tucked away up to the bedroom.
Yeah, you can now come out of the Weatherman Witness Protection Program. You're free to roam the streets of Cleveland again. Matt, thank you very much. All right now it's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we bring back our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Steph, hello again. What are people saying about COVID vaccines becoming available for 12 to 15-year-olds, possibly as soon as tomorrow in Ohio? Are we on board? Are we a little hesitant? What are we saying?
It's quite the mix, Jay. We got a lot of range of responses across our social media platforms when we asked people, do you plan to vaccinate your kids against COVID? On Twitter, most responses were a resounding yes. People cannot wait to get appointments. On Facebook, a lot of people are saying they can't wait until a vaccine gets approved for their younger kids. And as soon as that's possible, they will be sure to get them in. And on Instagram, most people who responded simply said no, they aren't into it, and they will not be getting their children vaccinated. Okay, now if you haven't yet filed your 2017 tax returns, you might be leaving a lot of money on the table. The IRS says that about 1.3 million people never filed 2017 tax returns, and it's holding about $1.3 billion in unpaid refunds. Half of them are close to $900. Now the hard deadline to file is Monday, May 17th, and if you don't file by then, your refund becomes property of the U.S. Treasury Department, so get those files in. All right, if you are interested in seeing Stipe Miocic fight again, listen to this. Stipe recently posted on Instagram implying he was ready to fight again, and there's been talk about who John Bones Jones might fight. So UFC's Dana White weighed in a recent interview talking about Stipe.
The guy has put in the work and done all the things you need to do to be the heavyweight GOAT. He is, that's a fact. And I don't know, we'll see what's next. I like that he's fired up and wants to fight again. But yeah, I mean, listen, we could do John and Stipe too.
Now, Jones is who Stipe was expected to fight if he had won his most recent title challenge, Jay and Betsy. So it sounds like we might see that matchup after all.
Yeah, as a fan, I think that'd be a very good fight. It'd be one that I'd like to see. Hopefully we'll see him back soon.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so much. See you again tomorrow. As for us, here's what's next on What's New. Robocalls are one of the most frustrating things ever, and they are getting worse. We have a 3 News investigation into what's being done to stop them.
This message is from the Social Security.
Oh, those robocalls. Just the term gets my blood pressure rising. From Rachel Cardholder Services to the extended warranty you don't want to buy to the arrest warrant threatening you to pay up or go to jail. They just don't stop. And it really seems, it feels, we can't do anything about it.
We do feel helpless. I'm not kidding. I get 3 a week from an extended car warranty for cars I don't even own.
Yeah.
And the FCC says warranty renewal scams were the top robocall complaint in 2020. Not surprised there. As 3 News investigator Rachel Polanski explains, the scam isn't new, but it has gotten worse.
When you hear one of these,
Hi, Peter. This is Rama calling from Pasaya.
how does it make you feel?
It's frustrating. It's aggravating.
If you suffer from chronic pain, press 1.
You know, life's annoying enough without having to put up with these other annoyances.
If your reaction is anything like these guys,
I was outraged. I was mad.
A complaint has been
hey, at least you're not alone.
I would drop my fork and knife and run upstairs and put in another complaint.
Peter Mazaitis of North Royalton logs every robocall he receives and reports them to the Ohio Attorney General's office. That's 300 complaints in just the past 3 years.
These people are preying on whoever they're calling.
Peter takes robocalls so seriously because his mother was a victim of a scam in the early 2000s.
I started going through the checkbook, and it was like about $4,000 a month she's sending checks out.
And Peter's mother is not unique. Roughly 1 in 6 adults lose money from phone scams each year, costing victims an estimated $10.5 billion. So,
This message is from the Social Security.
How do we stop the calls? We took that question to Will Maxon, who heads the Division of Marketing Practices at the Federal Trade Commission. And guess what?
I'd like to talk to you about this opportunity.
Even he gets robocalls.
I do, yeah, I've gotten robocalls.
But he does have some tips to stop them. 1, put your number on the FTC's Do Not Call list. 2, hang up as soon as you get a robocall and block the number. And 3, do not press any numbers during the call, because it only confirms that you have a working number. The problem is, none of these tips are foolproof.
It is not going to stop you from getting calls from scammers that are telling you they're with the IRS or the Social Security Administration. You know, those people are engaged in essentially hardcore fraud.
But Maxon says the FTC is working with the FCC and attorney generals across the country to try and stop robocallers, even targeting companies that provide the technology used in robocall operations.
Hello, I have a message concerning important personal business.
And if you're willing to make the effort, he says reporting really works in helping them unravel the algorithms behind the robocalls. Rachel Polanski, 3 News.
Not even kidding. Not 10 seconds after that story started, I got a freaking, slow down and say freaking, scam call. Right there.
I can attest to it. She said, oh my God, look who's calling me.
I don't know, it just, they know. All right, well, tonight at 11, Rachel is going to be looking at if buying a track phone could help cut back on robocalls.
All right, but you know, this is the one thing that I think all Americans agree on. It seems like we're split on just about everything, 50-50. The one thing we're not split on, we're 100% in agreement on this, robocalls are annoying. Somehow we've got to figure out how we make these things go away.
Where are the hackers?
They're ridiculous.
We need those hackers, like GoFundMe to pay the hackers to take down the robocalls. That's my solution to the problem.
You start that GoFundMe. I'll kick in some cash. I'm done with them.
Next on What's New, best friends meet in real life for the very first time. This is so adorable. We have the story behind this friendship and Show Us Something Good.
Yeah, it's really good. Then tonight on What Matters Most at 6, we're bringing the love. Our Laura Queso shows the story of how a Twinsburg family reunites for the first time in over a year. That's tonight.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
I'm Laura Queso. What are the unique things about remote learning? I got you. Yeah, I just want to, sorry, I just sprayed hairspray.
Hey Al, how are you? Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Mitchell. I'm Laura Queso. We begin tonight with the latest on jobs and unemployment.
Hey, how are you? Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have vaccine questions, we want to help. This Thursday at 7:30, we're having a vaccine.
Hey, how are you? Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brandon's microphone. We're talking about chip shortages today affecting car sales here in Northeast.
Hello, hello, hello. Yes, test, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, one of the unique things about remote learning is some kids have been making friends online before they ever meet them in person. I love this. Julie and Luna hit it off right away in their virtual classroom. The first graders finally got to meet face to face. It was for a birthday surprise for Julie. And look at that reaction. I mean, they know each other. They've seen each other on computers many times. There she is, Mom.
Oh my God.
And look at that meeting.
Oh, I love it.
She's hopping up and down.
Right?
By the way, I looked exactly the same way when I was finally allowed to get back to work.
Yeah.
I ran down the hallway.
You
I saw
were
Betsy
so
in
excited.
person. I jumped up and down.
We couldn't touch each other, but yeah, I was like, hey, hi, virtual hugs. Well, we want you to send us more videos and pictures just like this of your reunions. It's part of our campaign called Feel the Love. Just use the hashtag reunions3 on social media, or you can upload pictures and videos to our WKYC app using the near future. We love to see these.
It's easy to do. Keep them coming. We're out of time. Back tomorrow at 5, and we hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, unemployment changes.
I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get people back into more traditional jobs.
And